Hello Internet, welcome back to our Cataclysm tutorial series. In the last episode, I believe we went out exploring the town, and we're kind of in hiatus on working on our forge tools because it's nighttime and we can't take apart vehicles for metal parts. Now there is stuff we can do to harvest metal in the dark, like we could go and harvest small amounts from metal furniture. These will give pipes and stuff that we could, get parts for and scrap metal and whatnot. But the big pieces that we need for like the anvil, we can't get because these are all the best way to do this is just pull things off of a vehicle. In fact, we've been harvesting lumps of steel. I think it might even be more efficient to just pull steel frames. I don't know. What did we get done? We have a clay crucible, a hammer. Get that mouse cursor out of here. We need a tongs. At some point, we're going to need tongs. We're going to need the anvil. What else do we need? Is it just that? It might just be that. I was thinking, since we're kind of in limbo, we could work on a welder instead. But I don't think we have... Do we have the skills? Since it's nighttime, why don't we work on our skills? Because if we try to do this now, we don't have the skill required. We have an electronics of 1. You need electronics of 2. And if we tried it now, there's a good chance we would fail and lose materials. And we have a relatively limited amount of power converters, although we have enough that we could fail multiple times. But in my experience, you do tend to fail a lot. We've already encountered that in this game so far, where we fail to craft something and it eats up just material after material after material. Also, a good time to mention I'm a little congested. I just ate a very spicy soup, so if I sound nasally or sniffly, that would be why. Okay, so we don't even have rounds in this pistol. I'm not sure why we're carrying that on us. Our spear is busted again. We could work on repairing our clothes, but I don't want to do that. Let's see if we can raise our electronics. Do we have any electronics books? Nope, that's the wrong menu. Let's read these quick so we can get access to their recipes and see what their skills are. Trap and field. Okay. And then we don't need them in our inventory, so we'll drop them. Alright, electronics. Nope. Yes, electronics to 3. 32 minutes. If you don't have an electronics book, you're going to have to craft to raise it, and electronics is one that's a little bit tricky to raise. The first couple levels are fine, but after like level 2 I really struggle because I often don't have the materials necessary to make things. Like here we could just make a ton of electric fire starters to raise to level 2. The problem is copper wire, like I said, if you find an electronics shop and you can find it in large quantities, that's great. Then that's totally a viable option. But if you're disassembling electronics in hopes of getting copper wire, you're going to get 5, 10, 8 copper wire at a time, and it's going to take a long time to harvest enough to really make this a viable option. So antennas are 0, transponder, none of this is very ideal for us. Solder can also be really difficult to find. If you're just piecing out electronics, you'll get 2 to 5 solder per harvest, so it's not the best thing to do. So we'll just read our book. We're not hungry, we're not thirsty. Why don't we snack on something that'll boost our mood? This food is going bad. Eat a little bit of pesto for calories, then we'll just focus on things that boost our mood. Grapefruit. Yeah, I wouldn't want to eat a grapefruit either, to be honest with you. I think grapefruits are pretty gross. Everything that has a good, positive happiness seems to also have quite a lot of calories in it. Here we go. Pickled veggies. Some pickles. We're full now. We really don't want to overeat. We never talked about that. If you force yourself to eat once you're full, you will eventually get sick and probably vomit, which causes you to lose calories. Are we wearing our fur? We are. I'm surprised we're not really hot standing next to this fire. I mean, we're warm, and our legs are quite warm as well. Why are our legs so warm? I didn't think we were wearing that much. Kilt. It's the motorcycle pants mostly, and then the compression shorts also. We can lose the compression shorts. Who needs to wear underwear? I mean, honestly, I've been freeballing it since 1982. That's a joke. I wasn't born in 1982. Let's drop this spear as well. We're going to want to upgrade that. And then let's read our book, and then we will craft the welder. What's a transistor? We do need to stand near the fire to read, unfortunately, but it's also going to make us inhale smoke from time to time. Let's go ahead and raise our skill level. Let me turn down my sound because that background cricket noise is extremely loud. Yeah, I'm trying to make as much content right now as I can. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of tutorial stuff that I specifically want to talk about. Also, creaky chair is creaky. So I don't have targeted topics for these things. Man, our focus is just dead. Our focus is 50, so we're learning half as well as we normally would, ish. So let's try to eat some more stuff. I know, again, I was trying to eat fewer calories, but eat another pickle. Just anything that puts us in a positive mood. A little bit of potato chips. They seem to make us very happy. We already had some potato chips. Don't want to eat it, toast them. They have a lot of calories. I mean, all this stuff has a lot of calories, really. All of this stuff has a lot of calories. I don't love that. I mean, obviously we want a lot of calories in general, but we don't want them right now because we're overweight. And we've been eating a lot of calories, and I'm worried that our weight is going to dip into obesity. And when you get obese, you have some health ramifications that I really don't want to deal with. We talked about those in our health video. If you're obese or morbidly obese, you will, maybe it is just morbidly obese. Once you start getting your weight up there, you'll start to have a capped health, which means you can never be more than a negative value of health, which we really don't want. The MP3 player, that'll help a little bit. This one, activate MP3 and go back to reading. Unfortunately, we're just, it's been a long day. We were in combat. We took some hits, so we were in pain. Things like that, all of which lower your focus. Your focus in general ticks down over time anyway. Pretty much anything in Cataclysm reduces your focus, man. It's so slow. I'm getting worried by how many days we're spending in the base, not really progressing out in the world. Because we're on day 9 now, we're going to start seeing monster evolutions. We're going to start seeing not super scary stuff, but more scary than before. You'll see we have a plus 20 from music, from listening to music for so long. We're still hydrated. I guess some of the food we're eating also has quench to it. I don't feel like I can keep eating. I do want to raise my focus, but I don't think eating is something I want to do because I don't want to be obese. So the sun has come up and we've just shifted to tired, which is a problem because we were going to stay up and work on, turn off the MP3 player. We're going to stay up and work on the vehicle, so our character's going to be a little tired. Do we even want to bother making another spear? Probably not. We're not going anywhere super dangerous. We've already cleared the area. So I think the nail bat will be fine. Just keep our eyes open. Zombie found. Okay, I'm not really worried about it. Again, we've been through here multiple times. This is what will happen as you have a base in an area. If you wander around, eventually you're going to clear out most of the stuff that's nearby, and you'll have a relative safe place to move to. So again, let's check the anvil. Requires 40 lumps of steel. We have 20. I thought we had harvested more, and I thought the number was higher. I thought it was 80 that you needed. Whatever. Oh, I didn't bring my tools. Awesome. So we could talk about Automove. We're already 10 minutes in. It would help me make a short video so I at least have something to put out. There's a feature in Cataclysm called the Automove. It works while in a vehicle. It works while you're in a boat. It works while on foot. And it works underground now. So it works in most situations. The way we do this, we go to the map menu, which is the lowercase m key. We've talked about that. And we will highlight where we want to walk to. So here we want to go down to the evac shelter where we're staying. And over here you'll see it says use movement keys to pan. Press capital W to preview routes. Press again to confirm. So we press W. We will get these teal exclamation points. Now on your game it'll be dark blue. I've changed all the dark blue text to teal, because dark blue is really hard to read on black. which is where it would show up in the log and things. It was just a little difficult to read. So it'll show up as exclamation points leading to your destination. If we press W again, we will move in that direction. Generally, I recommend putting on safe mode. I'm not sure how the setting works now. I actually don't use Automove very frequently. But when it was first implemented, if you did not have safe mode on, you could end up in situations where you were more or less being attacked prior to... Like, it would say... It was supposed to stop you at all times, but as far as I understand, but I would end up, especially if I was moving through a town, it would stop me only when I was attacked, and that's obviously problematic. We don't want to be attacked. So if we go down here and we hit capital W again, it will confirm our route and prompt us to travel there, and we will travel to that point. Monsters spotted, cancel auto move. So I can hit no, but it will stop me anyway because I have safe mode on. So if you have safe mode on, it's going to stop you no matter what, is my understanding. If you turn safe mode off, I don't think that it will stop you if you see something. No, no, and you'll see we made it all the way to our destination. Now, it's a little wonky if you're trying to auto move through an uncleared area. You probably will get yourself killed, so I can't just say, okay, let's go to this gun shop, because we will pass through a lot of enemy territory, and if I choose to ignore the zombies, I'll end up getting myself killed, frankly. So don't do that. Mostly it's for the situation we were just in, where we were a ways away from our base. We know that the path is mostly clear, and so we know, instead of just holding down the down button and moving down all manually through this area and having to walk all this way, you know, it would have taken us minimally about that long, probably longer, because I tend to stagger my movements and move a little bit more cautiously. So it would have taken us quite a while to walk all the way back to our base, and instead we can just hit the W key, confirm, and off we go. So it does work pretty great. It now works underground. Previously, because there are some places like, well, I think, no, not in the railway station. In the subways, there are long tracks that connect multiple subway stations. It can be extremely annoying if you've been, like, let's say we pop in here and we're like, okay, we're going to head up to this one underground. That way we don't have to walk through the populated city. So we walk all the way up here. We do a little bit of looting and we want to head back. What's really annoying to walk all that distance. So it's easier just to select the auto move and move underground that way. So that was an update relatively recently. You can auto move underground now. Similarly, there is auto driving. It works exactly the same way. If we pop in our car and start up our vehicle, okay, start up, and we do the same thing. We can come and we'll just mark this, travel to this point. Yes, you'll see it moved us over here. Now, vehicle auto driving is actually really kind of sketchy. It only works on roads the last time I checked, so you can only select tiles that are road tiles. So like, we couldn't say, okay, take me to this house. I don't think it would work. I believe it has to be on a road, or at least, again, it did at the time of its implementation. And the auto driving doesn't really avoid obstacles so much. I have had mostly good experiences with it, but I see people pretty regularly say, hey, you know, I used auto drive and it drove me into another vehicle. That does happen. I've experienced that as well. It's just not something that happens a lot. So that's worth being careful. If there was a big water tile here, let's say we had a river right here, and I tried to auto move to the other side, I believe it works now. So it would, I don't know if it would just drag you into the water. It would probably prompt you at the water's edge. But I believe that you can target water and target past water. Not 100%. I have not done that personally, so I could be misremembering the PRs. What else? Boats work with auto drive as well. So if we were on a lake and we were in a boat, we could auto drive all the way out there and it would be fine as long as it was a water tile. I assume that works the same way as auto driving works with roads. I assume that the boat would require you to... I mean, I guess if you have an amphibious vehicle, some people make their vehicles able to transition between land and water. whatever. I really don't use Automove that much. I think that it's something that it's really cool. It's a really nice quality of life thing. I know a lot of people really wanted it, but I kind of have learned to play prior to its existence. And then when I did want it to work, it didn't really work for me. So like we had a really long. We were in a lab and it connected to another lab, but it was so far away that it literally took like 6 or 7 minutes of walking, like real life time walking from one to the other. And Automove at that point didn't work underground, so I had to hoof it on foot. So it's like most of the time when I've wanted to use it, it wasn't really in a place where it was usable. It's in a much better place now. It's definitely a quality of life feature. A lot of people for a long time had asked for that. Worth noting, I believe auto driving, you need to remain driving the vehicle. Used to be, again, when it was first implemented, people would set up auto drive and then what they were doing something exploity. Like I think they were sleeping while auto driving. Maybe that's not correct. I don't remember actually now that I started to talk about it. Whatever. It's obviously you should stay focused when auto driving. And again, safe mode is very important. Safe mode will pull you out of the auto move. That way you don't accidentally hit a button and say, okay, yeah, no, ignore that zombie that's dangerously close, and then it will stop you anyway, even if you hit ignore, which I think is a good thing. Anyway, we forgot our tools. Let's grab our hacksaw really quick. So that's auto move. I think it's a, again, really good quality of life thing. I think a lot of people wanted it. I think some people were a little disappointed with the implementation because it is a little bit, the auto drive is a little bit kind of, you will drive into things sometimes. I think people have a low tolerance for that. I personally think that that's a perfectly acceptable, like honestly, you're getting auto drive. We could, like let's say we had cleared all the way to the next town and we were coming back to base. We could just hit auto move all the way from here, all the way back to the road outside of our house, and it would mostly bring us here unscathed. If you bump into a truck on the way here, that's not a big deal. You're still saving tons of time and tons of effort and tons of key presses. I think people should have a higher tolerance for accidents when it's saving you a ton of grief otherwise. So personally, I think it's cool. I don't often use it because I don't often drive very far, and I prefer to be in control of that as much as I can. Butcher steel frame. Hopefully it doesn't give us nothing, because sometimes it gives us nothing. Yep, gave us nothing because it was very slightly damaged. It gave us... There's no variable harvesting. So like, here's a damaged frame. It's either going to give us everything or it's going to give us nothing. There's no variable amount. It's always all or nothing. And when you have a thing that's 3/4 health and then it gives you nothing, it's definitely frustrating because we just basically spent time pulling it off the vehicle. Then we spent time harvesting it, 45 minutes to pull the frame apart to get lumps of steel, and it gave us nothing. So very disappointing. I don't think there's variable amounts. For me, it's always all or nothing. I might be wrong about that. No, don't do that. That's the wrong thing. Butcher steel frame. Yes. This will give us enough lumps for the anvil. Can we pick all these up? We can. Weird. Oh, it's 80 pounds, so they're 2 pounds each. So that's 2 pounds of metal per lump. That's interesting. I don't think any of these will give, because we want a little bit more. We would like to be able to bring some more metal back for tools and things for other crafting items. We could pull off of a different vehicle, so it's a little bit more. So basically, in order to pull off a frame, I don't know if we ever talked about this. We'll talk about vehicles in depth when we start working on one ourselves. We'll explain this whole menu. I'll explain the whole menu to you. I'll explain how you install, remove, treat various parts, etc. But for now, we're not going to do that. But basically, to do a frame, let's say we want to pull this frame off. In order to do that, we have to remove every other part first. So we would have to remove the roof, the board, and then the frame. And again, because it's a damaged frame, we wouldn't get anything necessarily out of this. So we're looking for fully healed frames that are on the exterior of the vehicle, because you cannot remove a frame if it is the only frame attached to another frame. if that makes sense. So we can't fully remove these two tiles because then this tile would have nothing to connect to. So you kind of have to pick from the exterior and work your way in a lot of times. And like, let's say we wanted this one, well, then we'd have to get a jack and everything to remove the wheel. So once you start piecing out a lot of the easy parts, you'll probably just rather switch to a different vehicle that has some easy parts. Like here, all we have to do is remove the quarter panel, which is very fast, and then remove the frame, and there we go. So let's butcher this as well. And then I think that'll be enough for now, and we'll head back to base. Lumps of steel. Did I pick these up? I did not. We are overweight. If you pick up more weight than you can carry, your stamina will slowly lower. You'll see ours is hovering right around 4.5 bars instead of full. Additionally, you are slower, and I believe you can hurt yourself if you go super overboard. Let's drop the steel and deal with this zombie that came to visit us. Again, we don't have our spear at the moment, so we're just having to bash them. Okay, we'll take the battery out of that. None of that I don't really care about. And we'll pick this back up. Yeah, so you don't want to be overweight, carrying overweight things. Oh, we did have lumps, didn't we? Yeah, we did. So we didn't need quite as many as we picked up, but that's okay. Do we want to build the anvil now? It is daylight. We really do want to work during the day. Let's have a snack, preferably something with low calories. No, don't eat raw bird eggs, please. Bread. I'd rather save the bread for making sandwiches. We have these uncooked hot dogs. Why don't we make some hot dogs? Well, no, they're like proper food, though. We don't want proper food right now. We want a snack. We want a snack. Just eat some lettuce. Very low calorie count. But it is voluminous, so it will fill up our stomach even though we're barely eating anything. You'll see we just ate about 16 calories, but we're already full. And let's have a drink of just some water, because again, we don't want to keep pouring calories on in our stomach. And we'll go back out and we'll work on the anvil. How is this doing? 1600 charcoal is fine. We didn't start an anvil anywhere, did we? We didn't. Another thing we never really talked about, you craft faster if you have a table of some sort. A table, a counter, a flat surface to work on. So most of the time I don't really care if you're crafting small items. It doesn't save you that much time. But if you're crafting a big item that takes quite a lot of time, like the anvil, it is beneficial to... I want the desk. Give me the desk. There we go. It is beneficial to grab a table of some sort because it will reduce the amount of time you're crafting. Let's do it this way. It's a little finicky to grab furniture because you will auto let it go if you move it out of range. So like there, it auto let go because it had moved out of range. And the way we do this is just put it next to wherever you're crafting and you will automatically use it. So if we E on this tile, you will know if it's usable as a crafting surface because this menu will pop up. We're a similar menu to this. I don't know if there are other menus or not. So let's make the anvil. Anvil. And you'll see this takes 4 hours. Now, again, if we were making knitting needles, it doesn't really matter if we have a table or not because it very quickly gets crafted. Something like 4 hours, any even small amount of time saving is beneficial and it will reduce the amount of time we spend doing this. So always try to have a table around when you're working. Yeah, let's stop and let's grab our noise canceling headphones because I really don't want to listen to that guy every couple seconds saying that there's a universal curfew in effect. Headgear, wear that please. And because we started to craft, it actually placed the anvil on the table. You'll see it says there's an in progress craft here, and what we would do is go back to work on craft and it would continue wherever we left off. This is great for stuff like the anvil because if we get 3 hours in and we decide we have to stop, all I have to do is press the 5 key or the period key. We will get the stop crafting menu. I'll say yes and we can go deal with the zombies or whatever we were going to do. Then we can just come back, pop over here again, work on craft, and you'll see it's saved our progress. So yep, very, very handy. The resuming of partial crafts was a really good change. It used to be, I don't remember how it used to be. I remember being irritated by the way it used to be, but I can't really remember how it was. The impartial crafts was probably about a year ago that they added that, maybe a little bit more. And it's it's a nice feature to be able to resume a long craft after a while. Some things can be resumed, some things can't. Butchering, I believe, starts you from scratch if you fail to fully butcher something. Construction can be resumed. Deconstruction can be resumed. I don't think vehicle work gets progress saved. I'm not 100% on that. Anyway, we have an anvil now. It's 3 in the afternoon. We probably are pretty tired at this point. Let's push it. We'll push it till nighttime. That way, hopefully, we'll sleep through the night and wake up in the morning. What do we want to make the spear? What else do we need to make the spear? We're going to need tongs and we're going to need a chisel. The chisel is the tool I was forgetting. They should be very quick to make. Metalworking chisel. We need tongs to make the chisel. Gotcha. Make the tongs first. We have everything required, so we'll do this pretty quickly. Again, it's going to take about an hour per tool, which is not terrible. And what was the other one? Chisel. Metalworking chisel. So there, in about a day and a half, we've gotten all of our tools together that we're going to need for these crafts. You'll see they're automatically deposited on the workbench, the table that we're using. So we'll go ahead and drop those at our feet because that's where I'm storing our tools at the moment. And we now have the ability to make that spear, which is a good spear. No, we can't. We need a long stick, we need some leather or something, and we need some thread. All very attainable. I just don't have them right here because we mostly keep our crafting supplies inside. Nope, don't do that. So let's grab some more long sticks. Again, I don't often use the spear, so this is all pretty new to me. I don't think I've used this steel spear in about probably at least a year. Probably our first Let's Play on the channel probably used it, but I actually don't remember. So we need some sinew, so we'll grab some sinew because it's way more. We have a lot of it from butchering and whatnot, and we needed patches. Yeah, what do we have here? Leather. We'll take 2 leather patches. It's fine. I was gonna try to use felt or something, but we can just use the leather. Make our steel spear. Again, solid weapon, probably something we'll be using into the mid-game or early late game. I tend to lose interest in Cataclysm before I get to the late game, so I don't really know what end-game weapons are. We might shift to the Naginata in the future, but yeah, take a look at it. I mean, it's 34 damage, split among 2, which is normally a problem in a later game. You want 1 damage type. You don't want to split your damage between 2 types. But it is primarily pierce, so it's barely split at all. A good plus to hit. It's a little bit, it's pretty average on the moves per attack. Maybe a tad slower than I would like. It has Impaling Strike, which will let us hit an enemy behind the enemy, but that's only on a critical. It has Medium Block, so these abilities actually aren't that impressive. But of course we want it because it can make reach attacks, and because this is well made, which means not only is it not flimsy, which is what is causing our other spears to be damaged, but it's actually even more durable than normal items. So we shouldn't have to repair this too much. And even if we do need to repair it, we are very close to being able to make the welder, which is what we would use to repair. Oh, why? Oh, because we don't have the books nearby. So we don't have the welder recipe at the moment. Interesting. We're probably going to want to make the welding mask as well. We'll talk about that when we make a welder, but it requires goggles. Yeah, so we do need some sunglasses probably is what we're going to need. We'll talk about that when we make the welder. For now, I think we'll call the episode here, and then we'll probably sleep and reassess in the morning. So for now, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'll be back with more tutorial series for Cataclysm in the near future, and I'll see you next time.